Hey everybody, it is me, Angel Benton, and it is time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and we do a few reality shows on the side. And one of those daytime TV shows that we're doing is General Hospital. Now, what's interesting about General Hospital is that, well, actually, for this Sudsy Recap, okay, so let me go back. A couple weeks ago, I talked about the GH convention that they had in Burbank. And then last week I did my daytime Emmy special. And this week, I'm still not going quite back to the show yet. I'm actually going to be talking about the GH Fantasy Weekend in Tempe, Arizona that I actually went to. And then kind of at the end, I'm going to segue into a little bit of a personal story. But I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so I hadn't been to Phoenix since I lived in North Scottsdale. And obviously, Philip Ashton was the first person I called because I was like, girl, I'm coming down to Tempe. She's like, shut the fuck up. So she's like, yeah, call me when your event's over. We'll hang out. I have a friend from Vegas named Eileen. Shout out to you, Eileen, who was going. So I knew she would be there. And okay, so this is kind of what sucks. Okay, so I tried to get a gold ticket for this particular event, but the gold tickets had all been sold out. So, and yes, this is one of the few events that I actually paid for. And I got a silver ticket instead, right? Now, the silver tickets actually ended up being a much better deal than the gold tickets. Like, they made all the gold people leave. It was kind of weird the way that they did things. Like, first of all, so they had this merchandise. They had, like, T-shirts and stuff. And I was going to get a shirt, but I was going to go get it after the show. No, you couldn't because they had packed up their shit and they were done. I was like, oh, well, okay then. I guess I don't want my money for that. All right. And then they let all the silver people take their pictures with the cast. And the gold people couldn't. Now, the gold people did get a good 2 hours before the show started to, go with, to meet everybody individually. But, I don't think they had the people to, like, be there taking pictures and stuff. Like, it would have to be selfies and stuff. So, I can see how that would be. I can see how my friend Eileen would be pissed off. Because she had a gold ticket and she didn't really see the value, and to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't either. Now, having said all that, it's good that General Hospital does so many events, because in addition to the fantasy weekends, in addition to the convention that they do annually, they also do the fan club weekend, which is this July. FYI, okay, I gotta tell you, I don't want to say who it is, because there's an actor on the show who I did not know does so many events, but he does a lot of events, and they're all expensive though. That would even put me in the poorhouse. I'm like, oh, I can't, especially now that I've got this new apartment that I'm getting, and I'm stressing out a little bit, but whatever. I know I'll figure it out one way or the other. Okay, so they did this show where everyone was on stage, and Okay, so there are certain people who, when you see them on television, you're not super, like, impressed with them, or you think they're all that hot or anything, but then you meet them in person and you're like, right? William DeVry, who plays Julian Jerome, is example A. I fell for him the last fan club weekend, right? I didn't really fall for him too much at the GH convention. I don't even know if he was even at the GH convention last year. But this year he was. Or was he? God, I don't even know. It's so funny. I don't know if he is or not. But anyways, he, at the fantasy weekend and the fan club weekend, well, first of all, at the fan club weekend last year, he had on these pants that were so well fitted that they made his butt look incredible. So, and I'm a butt man. So that was the first thing I noticed was, oh my God, he's got the cutest little butt I have ever seen in my life. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. But also, he had on this tight t-shirt and you could see his muscles and you can see his pecs, and I was like, oh my God. Now, that makes me sound really shallow, but I will say I didn't fully fall for him until we talked, and he was so nice and so funny too. So that was actually very refreshing. So I instantly became a huge fan of his, because really, when you are nice to your fans, that's what's important. It is, right? So, I don't know. It just, I like him a lot. So another person that was like that for me, actually, is Bradford Anderson, who plays Spinelli. Now, this sort of happened at the convention because he sang with the house band and also with Wally Kurth and Jason Patrick Stewart. And he sang a lot, though. Bradford sang a lot. And I guess he was in some band that had a bunch of people from Port Charles, but one of them is who played Stephen Lars. What was his name? I keep wanting to say Ryan McNeil, but that was his name on Young and the Restless. Scott Reeves. I knew Melissa Reeves is his wife. She's Jennifer on Days of Our Lives. I just can't stand Jennifer. Just so annoying. I just can't. Anyways, apparently they were in some band, and the band's on a hiatus now because Scott Reeves is doing something with some other partner. So blah blah blah, right? But Bradford was incredible. So I saw that he's actually an extremely talented singer, right? So now, when it comes to men, you don't necessarily have to have talent for me to like you. But if you do, that kicks you up about 6 notches. Like, yeah, I was like, ooh, okay. So then he was the one who was out in the crowd, kind of like Oprah, caller, it wasn't callers, but, which FYI though, I'm going to be able to do that in my new place. When I get my new background, I'll be able to, because I'll have a landline. So I'll be able to take phone calls for my Sudsy recap show. Isn't that great? But anyways, he was so hilarious. He was so funny. I was like, oh my God, he's getting me going. Now, they have a bunch of answers for these questions that these people were asking. And there was one question in particular, I'm not going to say what it was, because, well, first of all, I've got to say, everyone was way more respectful than they were to poor Kelly Monaco and Billy Miller at the convention. Like, people were asking I'm no prude at all, but they were asking questions that made me blush. I was like, that is inappropriate. Like, no way. And there was a little girl in the audience, so I'm glad, because she did not need to be hearing the stuff that they were asking. And God bless Kelly Monaco and Billy Miller, because they didn't give in to any of that foolishness, I swear. So, anyways, it was a really good show. I had a really nice photo op with all of the cast. It was cute. And I had a really good time. And then afterwards, Eileen and we just went to lunch at Denny's, and we had the best time just chatting, and she's the greatest. I love me some Eileen. So, afterwards, okay, now I'm going into a little personal story time. Okay, just a little mini one. Okay, so after that, okay, not every city, but in certain cities in this country where they can have male strippers go fully nude. San Francisco's one of them at the Nob Hill Theater. I don't even know if the Nob Hill Theater is around anymore. They used to have the Nob Hill Theater, and I think it was called Club 220 in the Tenderloin, I think. I'm not quite sure. But I know that they're both iffy on if they're both even open or not. But anyways, excuse me. Phoenix is another city, though, that they can have the all-naked dancers, and they do at this place called Dick's Cabaret. Now, I went to Dick's once 9 years ago, like right when I first moved to North Scottsdale, and actually it was right before I left North Scottsdale, because shortly afterwards is when I came to Las Vegas. But anyways, so at Dick's Cabaret, that is where, the guys get fully naked, right? And they, junk everywhere, whatever. That's fine. Here's the thing, though. They actually were the most amazing pole dancers I have ever seen of guys, except for Remy Martin. Remy Martin is in a class all on his own. He is like my pole god. I love me some Remy Martin. But these naked guys at Dick's were so good. And there was one guy in particular, and I was like, God, I know his name is like Jinx or Jinxie or Jinky or something like that, right? So I was like, okay, this time I'm going to go, and I'm going to go get some lap dances from the boys, because I want to enjoy myself, because I could afford it. Because I knew it was expensive, because they charge you $20 when you get in, then they charge you another $20 if you want a lap dance wristband, and then every single dance that you get from a guy is $20. And so if one guy, and the first guy actually sort of hustled me a little bit out of $100, because he was like, I did not know that they don't stop you in between songs. So I was like, okay, lesson learned. I got it. Okay, I gave him his money, but I was like, okay. So anyways, nobody there worked there when I was there 9 years ago, except the drag queen working the door looked very familiar to me. And I was like, how long have you been working here? She says, 15 years. I was like, great. 9 years ago, there was a guy that worked here. His name was Jinx, and she goes, Jixer. His name was Jixer. And I was like, yes! A credible pole dancer, right? She's like, yes, he was incredible. And I was like, okay, is he working tonight? Is anyone that good work tonight? She said, we have lots of good pole dancers working now. She's like, but Jixer doesn't work here anymore. But his brother does, but his brother is, he's off tonight. So I was like, oh, damn. Okay. But it was fine. So I got my 3 lap dances. So I still got 3 lap dances, even though I spent a little more than I was planning on. And there wasn't a hard penis in the bunch. Now, last time I had gotten 2 lap dances, and the first guy didn't get hard, but he also didn't mind if you touched his penis. He didn't care. The second guy was rock hard the whole time. I was like, wow, okay. There were no hard penises to be found anywhere amongst any of them this time. And not just that, but there was only one guy who had even the slightest amount of potential on the pole. Everyone else was not good at all. So I was disappointed. But I told the one that was good, that had potential, I was like, how long have you been polling? He said 2 weeks. I was like, okay, you're good for 2 weeks. And you need to study this, because you could actually make way more money than you're making here. And I know you probably make a lot here, but still, you get a job at Cirque du Soleil if you can actually pole dance really great. You're really good. So he was, very appreciative of that. So, okay, so then there's the 3 guys that I got the lap dances. I've already talked about the first one who sort of hustled me out of that $100. The second one was the best one I had of all evening, which is funny though. Okay, so one thing that was interesting. Last time I went, both the guys I got lap dances from were both circumcised, and this time 2 of them were uncircumcised and 1 of them was. So, which I don't care either way, to be perfectly honest with you. That doesn't matter to me at all. But the one guy that was actually cut, he really gave me a good lap dance, and he sort of choked me out a little bit, and I was kind of into it. I was like, okay, you better get it. It was great. He was really good. Like, I would not have a problem paying, and even though he didn't get hard, I still wouldn't care, though, because he had a very large penis, and he was going to town on me. He had a great ass, too. All 3 of the guys actually had really nice butts, but the one in the middle, he's definitely the one that I would pick if I was going to go back. But we'll see. I might have to make a few more trips to Phoenix, because I had a blast. I'm not going to lie. And I was completely alone. I didn't care. It was great. Anyways, thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate you sticking through my GH Fantasy Weekend story, as well as this little personal ditty about dicks. I know, God, all the people that watch my General Hospital Sudsy recaps are going to be like, oh my God, he's lost it. He's completely, I'm sorry, but that was, to me, it's all about that trip to Phoenix. So, anyways, Please feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Angel Benton. You can hashtag a GH to talk about General Hospital, or you can also hashtag RHOBH or Real Housewives Shit to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because I'm doing that next. And you can hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel to get my YouTube videos sent to your email inbox every single day. And while you're there, you can look around for my Storytime with Angel Benton series, because that's where I tell stories about my life. And episode 2 is filming, I think right after I do this RHOBH Sudsy recap, I'm going to do a Storytime part 2, where I continue the Britney Spears story. So thank you so much for logging on today. Peace out. Have a wonderful night. Wubba, wubba, wubba.